What's the most embarrassing thing you've done while trying to look cool in front of someone? Last year, I had a massive crush on Sarah, who worked at the coffee shop across from my office. Every morning I'd go in, order my usual latte, and try to think of something clever to say. One Tuesday, I noticed she was reading The Great Gatsby during her break. Perfect. I'd majored in English literature. This was my moment to shine. I walked up confidently and said, "Great book. Fitzgerald really captures the decay of the American dream through Gatsby's pursuit of the green light." Sarah looked up, impressed. "You've read it?" "Oh yeah, multiple times. It's one of my favorites." This was technically true. I'd read it once in college and written a paper on it. "What did you think about the symbolism of the eyes of Dr. T.J. Eckelberg?" she asked. I panicked. I had no idea what she was talking about, but I couldn't admit that now. "The eyes? Oh, they're very symbolic, very watching, like society watching people." Sarah nodded thoughtfully. "Right, the omniscient observer theme. But what about their connection to the Valley of Ashes?" "The valley, yes, it's very ashy, represents moral decay." I was improvising terribly, but Sarah seemed engaged. "I'm actually writing my master's thesis on Fitzgerald," she said. "I'd love to hear your thoughts on the color symbolism throughout the novel." My heart sank. She was getting a master's degree in this stuff. "Colors are important," I managed. "Green means hope. Yellow means wealth. What about the blue eyes of T.J. Eckelberg versus the green eyes mentioned in chapter 4? I had no clue there were green eyes in chapter 4. Those green eyes really contrast with the blue ones. Sarah's expression changed slightly. "Green eyes in chapter 4? Did I say green? I meant the green light's reflection in the blue eyes? But the eyes are painted on a billboard. They don't reflect anything." I was trapped. "Right. That's what makes it so symbolic." Sarah closed her book. "You know what? I don't think there are any green eyes mentioned in chapter 4. Maybe I'm thinking of a different edition. It's the same text in every edition." I stood there sweating while other customers watched this literary disaster unfold. "Look," Sarah said gently, "it's okay if you haven't read it recently. You don't need to pretend. I have read it, just maybe not as thoroughly as you." "When did you read it?" "College. About 6 years ago," Sarah smiled. "And you probably wrote one paper on it and moved on?" I nodded miserably. "That's normal. I've read it 15 times for my research. You don't need to fake being an expert. I just wanted to impress you. You know what would impress me? Honesty. And maybe asking me about my thesis instead of pretending you know everything about it." I felt like an idiot. "What's your thesis about?" "The role of unreliable narration in creating moral ambiguity." "That sounds fascinating and way over my head." Sarah laughed. "See? Much better." Over the next few weeks, I started asking her genuine questions about her research. She'd explain concepts during her breaks, and I'd listen without pretending to know more than I did. Turns out, Sarah found it refreshing to talk to someone who was genuinely curious rather than trying to show off. We went on our first date 2 months later. She brought a copy of Gatsby and offered to reread it with me, pointing out things I'd missed. "This time," she said, "you can ask questions instead of making things up." 3 months after that embarrassing conversation, I knew more about Gatsby than I ever thought possible. Not because I was trying to impress Sarah, but because her enthusiasm was genuinely infectious. We've been dating for 8 months now. Sometimes she still teases me about the green eyes in chapter 4 incident. Last week, she let me read a draft of her thesis. I understood maybe half of it, but I was honest about that too. "You know what I love about you?" she said after I admitted my confusion. "My extensive literary knowledge? Your willingness to admit when you don't know something. It's much more attractive than fake expertise. Sometimes the best way to impress someone is to stop trying so hard."